Hello, my name is Timothy Stage. I am currently residing in Horseheads, New York. And I have lived a third of my life in Horseheads. Between when I left and when I come back, I've been a lot of other places and seen how a lot of other places have done things. My family history in the area, various branches, range between 200 and 300 years in the 20 years. So I feel like I have deep roots here. I still have friends in southern Pennsylvania where I was born, who are also, I have a lot of caffeine, so I'm a little shaky, sorry. Who are seeing firsthand the gas problems, the problems with the natural gas drilling down there. And I also still have family in the Twin Tiers, so I have a lot of concern about this area. My training is as a wildlife biologist, and I have extensive experience in environmental education. That said, I don't really feel like I need to address a lot of the environmental concerns. I really feel like the people who have spoken before me have already addressed those very well, I should say. And as far as the chemistry, there are people who can tell you more than I can. And as far as the hydrology, there are probably people who can tell you more than I can. One of the things I haven't seen brought up, but I would like to see asked as you review the regulations, is the human nature side of things. As part of my experience, one of the things I've run into with the EPA is that we have very good scientists taking the test on the ground floor, making very sound conclusions. But what happens is, as it gets filtered up the chain, the people actually making those decisions and making the final call very often aren't scientists. They're CEOs, they're businesses, they're businessmen. They really don't have the training or experience. It's this revolving door situation we have to deal with at the federal level. I don't know that that is happening here, but one of the things that is very important is transparency in all of these in this whole process. So when you're going through the regulations, what I would like you to look at is what is the transparency as far as the radioactive testing proceeds. How do we know that the testing for the radioactive materials is actually turned on? We do have some anecdotal evidence from other cities and other towns that are accepting this waste where the company dumping the drilling doesn't want to have to worry about it. The county doesn't have to worry about it. I'm not saying this is happening in Chemung. I'm just saying this is something that we need to keep an eye out for, is that they get there and they simply turn them off. They let the truck through and then they turn them back on when they're done. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of actually doing that here, but what I am asking is there an infrastructure set up within the organization to make sure that these don't happen? Is there some sort of, what sort of oversight is there to make sure the people on the ground at the door are actually leaving these radioactive meters checks on, that they are being accurate, and that every little, I forgot the measurement word that you use, but that every little, just every ounce of the potential radioactivity is being measured. The reason why I'm concerned about this is, looking at this from a system standpoint, there are economic pressures against regulation. There's, for whatever profit is for the company, the less regulated they are, the more profit they get to make, because they don't have to pay for the externalities. They only pay for certain things. Only way to make an externality into an internality is by oversight, by fees, by regulation. As far as the economics things side goes, when we look at the system as a whole, there may be inputs as far as benefits from the landfill that might go into the coffers. But if we expand the view of our system out of it, if there are any potential health impacts, if there are any potential even more losses of land property values or expenses that have to go into having to compensate other wildlife, other quality of life issues that might be canceled out, those have to be counted as part of the entire economic package. We just can't look at how much the county will get due to these fees. We also have to look at how much it's going to cost. What are the other expenses as part of having this come in? And this has been going on throughout at a New York State level and at a federal level, is that a lot of these numbers only look at the strict profits, but it doesn't look at the expenses socially, economically, environmentally that have to be paid for by someone.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you. The thing about externalities is that somebody always pays the externality. And it's not always the person who caused the problem, but somebody always pays it. So if it's something that causes cancer, our health system has to pay for it. If it's an environmental issue, the taxpayers pay for it somewhere else. I guess my point is just make sure that there is adequate oversight. I would say very strong oversight. Make sure that all of the tests that need to be occurring are occurring, and that our economic and profit doesn't extend just 5 or 10 years, that we really should be looking at a 20 to 30 year when we consider these things. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else in the fifth row? Or back row, I should say.